guys fill out the unit circle with degrees and radians. And if you look at radians, you can look on Google for the unit circle, and you may be so confused about why the radian doesn't go in any order. For example, we have 0 pi, and then it's go to pi over 6, and then pi over 4, and then pi over 3, and then pi over 2, and then we have 2 pi over 3, 3 pi over 4, and so on. Okay, so I'll show you the easiest way to remember it. Then you don't need to memorize anything. If you understand it, you don't need to memorize anything. Okay, so let's go with the degrees first. So degrees, we have 0. This one will be, you see that 0, and then all the way half of it, I have 180, because I know half of the circle is 180. And then back here I have 360, because I just go around the whole circle already. So now next, half of 0, between 0 and 180, I will have 90 degrees, because half of it. And then between 180 and 360, I will have 270. And the easiest way to do it, just by average of it. So you can take 360 plus 180 and then divide it by 2, then you get 270. Now next, we know that half of 0 and 90 will be 45, so that's why we have 45 degrees here. So each of the chunk like this will be 45 degrees. So if we know that, it will be easier for us to fill out the rest, because from 90 to the next one, we keep adding 45 degrees, so we get 135. And then we do the same thing, 80, between 80 and 270. You can do the math, so you can take 180 plus 270 divided by 2. Or just take 180 plus 45, because each of the pi right here, it will be 45 degrees. So 225. And then keeps going, we have 270 plus 45, so this will be 315, and so on. Okay, and then next, if you look at this thing right here, oops, you see this is kind of 1/3, as from 0 to 90 is divided into 3 equal parts, so that would be 1/3 of 90. So 1/3 of 90 degrees will be 30 degrees. So then right here we will have 30 degrees, and we know each of the chunk right here will equivalent to 30 degrees. So we have 30, and then from 30 go to the next chunk, we have 60 degrees, and keep going. So then I have 120, 150, 210, 240, 300, 330. Okay, so hopefully it gives you the idea on how to fill it out with the degrees on the unit circle. So now next we will go with radians. So yesterday we already learned how to convert radians to degrees, or degree to radians. We basically just use the unit rate, which is, we know that the whole circle will be 360 degrees. Okay, 360 degrees. And at the same time, we know for the whole circle it will be 2 pi. So they are equivalent. Whenever you use unit rate, they have to be equivalent. And we can simplify it. So then now, if we divide both top and bottom by 2, we get 180 degrees over pi. So that means right here I can start with 0 pi or 2 pi. And then right here, I just found it 180 degrees equivalent to pi. And then I'll do the math now. So between 0 and pi, right here will be pi over 2 because half pi. So half pi will be pi over 2. And I think the best way is I can use this line right here as my quotient line. So that way we don't see many lines on our unit circle. Okay, we do the same thing. So now, if you do this way, it will be easier because you know that this is 0 pi, and then if you count it in terms of pi over 2, so this will be 1 pi over 2. Okay, I will take this one smaller right here. So this will be 0 pi. This will be 1 pi over 2, which is pi over 2. The next one will be 2 pi over 2. Okay, I can write it as 2 pi over 2. And what does it mean by 2 pi over 2? I can reduce it. That's why instead of seeing 2 pi over 2, we see pi. And then next, if I keep counting by pi over 2, I have 3 pi over 2 here. And now we can write 3 pi over 2, and I cannot reduce it anymore. So that will be the simplest form I have for this one right here. And go back there, I have 2 pi. And basically I can keep going as pi over 2, so I have 4 pi over 2, and I reduce it. So 4 pi over 2, and I reduce 4 pi over 2, I will have 2 pi over 2 here. So that's how you count by going with pi over 2 each time. Okay, so now let's erase this. We move on next part. Okay, since we know the unit rates between degrees and radian, so we can convert 30 degrees into radian now. And if you do conversion right here, so let me change. So 30 degrees, I start with 30 degrees right here. I convert that into radians. So if I want to get radian there, therefore I have to put pi on top and weigh 180 degrees on the bottom. So that way it allows me to cross off degrees and degrees. And the unit I have right now is radians. So I have 30 pi over 180. And if I reduce both by 30, I will get 1 over 6, which means pi over 6. So I put pi over 6 right here. So 30 degrees equivalent to pi over 6. Alright, so let me erase this. I want to mess it up. So now I have pi over 6. And do the same thing. I know each of the chunk right here is pi over 6. If I go and count it by pi over 6, I have this one is pi over 6. The next one right here will be 2 pi over 6. However, I can reduce 2 pi over 6, and if I reduce 2 pi over 6, I will get pi over 3. And keep going with that. I can have this right here will be 3 pi over 6. And when I reduce 3 and 6, yes, it gives me back pi over 2. And keep going by that. I have next one will be 4 pi over 6. And can we reduce it? Yes. So if we reduce both by 2, we can get 2 pi over 3. Okay, keep going. Next one, next chunk, I get 5 pi over 6. And I cannot simplify 5 pi over 6 anymore, so this one will be 5 pi over 6. Okay, keep going. This one give me 6 pi over 6. And then if I reduce it, yes, it's give me pi. And then next chunk, I have 7 pi over 6.
Motion detected at the front door.
And I cannot reduce it anymore, so therefore I just put 6 pi over 6 right here. Next one, I get 8 pi over 6. And this one I can reduce both by 2. So therefore I get 4 pi over 3. And now this one, next one I have 9 pi over 6. I reduce both by 3. I get 3 pi over 2. Next chunk I have will be 10 pi over 6. If I reduce it by 2, I get 5 pi over... Wait, wrong place. Sorry guys, wrong place. Right here. Each chunk is 30 degrees, yeah. So this will be 10 pi over 6. And if I reduce by 2, I get 5 pi over 3. And then next chunk, almost there guys. Next chunk will be 11 pi over 6. Cannot reduce it, so then we have 11 pi over 6. Stay here. Last chunk will be 12 pi over 6, and if you reduce it, it gives you 2 pi.
Motion detected at the front door.
Alright, so hopefully this one help you understand more why we have pi over 6 and then we don't have 2 pi over 6 and we just jump to pi over 3. This is the reason. You counting it, but if you count it by pi over 6, and there's some angles where you can simplify it and rewrite in a form of pi over 3 instead. Okay, so now move on. Next one. Okay, so it works the same way for pi over 3. So if I start with pi over 3 with 60 degrees, and if I count it by 60 degrees or pi over 3 every single time, I have pi over 3, which is 1 pi over 3, 2 pi over 3, 3 pi over 3, and I reduce it, I get a pi only. And then I have 4 pi over 3, 5 pi over 3, and then 6 pi over 3, which is 2 pi. So that's how you count it by pi over 3. Okay. Now, next one, we have 45 degrees. And if you do the conversion, unit conversion, 45 degrees will give you pi over 4. Okay. So I have this one, start with this one, I have 1 pi over 4. So just pi over 4. And if I keep going, I have 2 pi over 4. And I reduce it, I get pi over 2. And then next chunk of 45 degrees will be right here at 135. And this one will be 3 pi over 4. And cannot reduce it, so just rewrite it as 3 pi over 4. And keep going, I get this one as 4 pi over 4. And reduce it, I get pi. Next chunk, I get 5 pi over 4. You cannot reduce it, so stay like that. 5 pi over 4. Then next, this one, this will be 6 pi over 4. And if you reduce it, you get 3 pi over 2. And then next, we have 7 pi over 4. And cannot reduce it, so I put 7 pi over 4 here. Okay. So now look at our unit circle. So let me erase these. And if we erase all the scratch work, we see our complete product of unit circle. So this is our complete unit circle. So you see pi over 6 and it jumped to pi over 4 and jumped to pi over 3, jumped to pi over 2, and suddenly back to 2 pi over 3, and then 3 pi over 4, 5 pi over 6. So if you look at unit circle, it's kind of not in any order. However, if you do the way I just showed you guys, you count it by pi over 6 and you reduce it. You count it by pi over 4, you reduce it. You count it by pi over 3, you reduce it. Then you will get the complete product here for the unit circle. Okay. And the next lesson, I will show you guys how to work on the coordinates at each angle. Alright, so hopefully it helped you guys understand the unit circle better instead of memorizing it.